Greetings. Another beautiful day. Another day, another opportunity to really reflect on life. Most of the situations that we find ourselves in, we create those circumstances in our life. And when things aren't going so well, we sometimes look for external forces to blame. But if we were to really take a careful look at our choices or behavior, we'd be able to begin to take more responsibility for our actions. This is my 7-year-old daughter's purse. Whenever you give her money, this is where she puts it. And sometimes she hides it because she says she doesn't want us to know where she's keeping her money. And sometimes you ask her what she's saving for, she said it's a secret, I can't tell you. But recently she told me that she was going to buy a house for me and her dad. And that money is very special. So she's going to do anything and she asks us for money and we say, well, what about your money? She says that money is for special purpose. I can't touch that money. I have to save it and I have to be very careful. This 7-year-old child got me thinking about some of the choices that I have made in my life and some of the ways I have spent my money. And the intention was good, but some of those choices were poor choices, and that's why I'm appealing to individuals to just think about what I'm saying. You can continue living your own life and doing whatever you choose to do. It's ultimately your choice and your life. I'm just sharing my perspective, and when I talk about attitudes, I include myself in those attitudes. But this 7-year-old daughter has a little girl. She's onto something, and she knows the value of money, and she knows how important it is to save her money. What I want to really talk about though is credit cards. I'm turning the back of my card because it contains personal information, private information that I wouldn't want to really share with the world. But we're talking about credit cards. Having a credit card can be very valuable and very useful because if you're trying to, say, book a hotel, for the most part, you need to have a credit card. They won't hold that reservation without that card. Sometimes you look online and you see a good ticket and you want to go home, or you want to travel, or you want to go on vacation. You have to have a credit card to hold that seat, especially if it's a seat sale. And I am a sales queen. I do not travel unless my ticket is very reduced, and I always am in search of those sale tickets, so I need a credit card to be able to hold that ticket. But that's where it stops. That's where it should stop. And I think when we buy something on our credit card, we shouldn't really buy anything that we can't pay off, because the interest you pay over a period of time sometimes is not worth that sale item if you put it on your credit card. Sometimes, there are things that we absolutely need. There's an emergency, and that credit card comes in very handy. So I'm not against credit cards. I'm just trying to tell people who are struggling financially to be careful of how you use these cards, because it is very easy to get them. It's very difficult to keep it. And the thing about it is, in order for you to live in a proper home or community of your choice. I mean, I don't want to just live anywhere with my kids. From the times they were little, I choose the community that I raise them. Not that I'm worried that violence can take place anywhere, but some places are predisposed to having certain kind of attitudes and certain types of people that I would rather stay away from. So, not that I think I'm better than individuals, but if an area is known to be drug infested, I don't want to live there. And if there's prostitution everywhere, I don't want to raise my children around that. These are individual choices that people make, and those are the choices that I don't want to be a part of my life. So I choose not to live in certain communities. So if you have a bad credit, you can't rent certain places. They won't rent it to you. So it's good to have credit, but what do you do with it when you have it? I grew up very poor, and at the time I didn't even realize I was poor. I just knew that we didn't have money. I didn't even think about the fact that we didn't have running water in our household, we didn't have electricity, we didn't have indoor plumbing. And recently I went home and I was in a situation where those things were still absent. And the thing about it might seem like a big deal now, but at the time we didn't really notice. You don't notice the things until you lose it, or you don't know how bad something was until it changes, that type of thing. Anyway, my encouragement to individuals is to use these cards to make your life better. And when the banks issue these cards to us, they're not necessarily trying to make our lives better, really. The average person, average working class person, having a credit card doesn't really enhance their life. It puts them in a position where they fall in debt if they're not careful. You can take your credit card and you can buy furniture, you can buy clothing, you can buy hair and accessories and makeup, you can use it to travel, you can go for dinner. These are the things that you can do to make your life appear to be better. And nowadays, nobody wants to defer those good time feelings. So we put it on credit. But the thing is, some of us will have a credit card that is maxed out to $10,000. And we don't think that this is not our money. We're actually borrowing money. If you wouldn't go to your friend and borrow $10,000, why would you spend that on your credit card? And I'm not saying you, that includes me and everybody else who has credit card, who sometimes use it and not think. Did you know, and I'm sure you know this, the bank will not allow you to use your credit card to buy a house. And the question for me is, why not? If I can hold $10,000 on my credit card for food and furniture and makeup and all these things, why can't I use that? I still owe the same $10,000. Why do you care if I want to use that to buy a house? Why? Because these things are not meant to make our lives better. They're illusion. They're allowing us to have what we want now, even when we can't afford it. And then when we fall into debt, we're held hostage to a system that keep us just floating above the waters. Some of us are in so much debt financially that we just stop hoping and dreaming about a better life, because it's like we have all these things around us, but we're still not very happy. We're miserable. You have households that look like showcases, and people who, when they walk down the street, you just see money floating around them, and they have nothing. They're in debt. They don't own land. They don't have a house. And you'd be better off having a house where you're paying mortgage, really, even though the bank owns it for 25 or 30 years. But at least you could take money off that house and start a business. You could use, it's a collateral that you could benefit yourself from. We've got to be wiser with what we do with our money. If you take your credit card and you buy something on sale, that item is no longer on sale because you're going to pay interest on that credit card. I wish I had someone to sit me down and to encourage me and to teach me about credit card. You could get in a lot of trouble with it. And in the past, I would use my credit card if somebody else was in trouble and asked for help. I would use my card and I would help that person out. I would take money off my credit card and lend to people to pay bills or to do whatever. That was very stupid. So my intention was good, but my choice was poor. This is why I'm having this conversation, because my little baby girl, knows the value of money. She knows it's important to save it and not to, touch her money because she has something in mind that she needs. We all have to do the same. We have to start thinking outside of the box. If I can use this old cliche. We have to learn how to appreciate what we have, the little that we have, and plan for better. Nobody wants to defer the joy and the gratification that they get from having the thing right now, having it, that immediate effect. I must have it now. I see something on TV, I must have it. My neighbor has this kind of thing, I must have it. And we sometimes go out and use a credit card and buy things that we don't even need. And then the bills come in and you've got those bills to pay and you get so overwhelmed with all these bills. Now I know that a lot of rich people don't use their own money, they invest other people's money and they borrow money to do their business and so on. But the thing is, usually when they're doing that, they're almost 100% certain that the money they're borrowing, they're going to make 3 times that amount. Well, if you and the proof that these credit cards are not meant to make our lives better, if you take cash advance from your Visa, the interest rate is ridiculous. So it's meant for you to go to a retailer and spend it buying things that you can't afford and be indebted. Because if it was meant for good, if it was meant to improve your life in meaningful ways, you should be able to take the cash and go use it to do whatever you want to do. You should be able to take it and do a down payment on a house. Who cares? $10,000 in food or $10,000 in assets should not make a difference. You still owe that money. I hope you get where I'm coming from and where I'm going on with this. So it is good to maintain good credit. It's not a bad thing to have it, but it's a bad thing to use it as if this money belongs to you. And if you must use it for your own advantage. Use it to make your life better. Use it to build a portfolio that's going to benefit you later on in life. Otherwise, it's stupid. Do we need to use this thing? Yeah, we do. Sometimes for emergency, but there are people who don't have credit cards. And they only use a bank card. And when there's no more money in your account, you just don't have any more money. If you know you're weak, you shouldn't be taking this credit card to you somewhere where you're going to be spending money. I have a friend, and that person is $50,000 in debt from taking her credit card to a casino and spending money that doesn't belong to her. And I understand where she's coming from, because who the heck wants to be poor? Everybody wants their circumstance to get better. We want a beautiful home. We want our kids to go to a good school. We want our kids to look beautiful. I understand it from that perspective, but why put yourself in more debt? You don't have those things. These are things you desire. And when you use your card to go try to win some money, it doesn't make any sense. And after you spend 1,000 and 2,000 and 10,000 and 15,000, at what point do you stop to say this doesn't make any sense? I'm falling more and more in debt. But there is this almost like a demonic kind of hold on us that make us do things, and when it's over and done, we blame the world. $50,000. Do you know she could buy land in Jamaica? She could buy real estate here. She could buy 2 beautiful homes here in Canada. She could buy real estate in Jamaica with that $50,000 that she used. And the bank saw those transactions and they didn't say anything. But the bank would stop her from using that to purchase a house. Hey guys, ladies and gentlemen, we are so tricked and we are so deceived, and we don't even realize how much we are tied up into a system. And I'm not talking about system in the place where I live. I'm talking about around the world. We're not even thinking anymore. We have lost the ability to reason with ourselves. I say we because I have fallen in the same trap. And now that my eyes are open, I try to do better. If you know better, do better. So if there's an emergency, I don't use my card. And if it is something that is going to enhance my life down the road, I will use it. I am appreciative of it. I don't want to take disadvantage of it. And also, when it comes to your minimum payments, don't pay attention to that stuff, because you will spend forever trying to pay out those credit card balances. If you just pay, try to put as much as you possibly can. If you can't pay it off, put as much as you can on the card, and it increases your credit, and so on and so forth. If you're gonna have a credit card, use it to better your life, to grow your portfolio, to create a better future for yourself and your children. Think on these things, everybody. Be blessed.